We all got a different path that we're on. It's all custom, man. It's all custom. So we gotta never forget that it is custom, and you have to feel custom. You do have to feel unique. You have to feel unique in what you're doing. You have to. And if you don't, good luck. Go struggle. I'm not investing. You have to feel unique. I don't care how broke you are. I don't care what your limited capital is. You have to feel unique. You have to feel special.
Totally.
Because there are a lot of things that tie into feeling unique. Like there's no going around it.
Welcome to the Lucas Skrobot Show. I'm Lucas Skrobot, and this is where we uncover purpose, pursue truth, and own the future. Episode 274, The Afterglow. It is recorded March 16th, 2022, right after we finished our interview with Mikhail Mironov, Mike Nova, musician and entrepreneur. If you didn't listen to the A side, the first part of the interview with Mikhail, with Mike, go back and listen to that. After we finished the interview, I paused the cameras for a moment, and then I realized, we're going to go into another hour of conversation, unpacking not just, stuff that's happening geopolitically or our positioning of how we should think about Ukraine, but we really got into some really deep heart stuff, life stuff, how to own your future, how to own my future. I came away with impacted on many different levels, thinking about lots of different things in my life. This intro clip, you have to feel custom, you have to feel special, you have to know that you were created with purpose and destiny to fulfill. That's still sticking with me even after this interview. So enjoy the Afterglow with Mikhail and I.
It died down when the violence dies down, but the people that are preaching the same message 10 years from now, but it may be in a different way, different style, different clothes, whatever. Those are the people they're like us, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
In a sense. Yeah, it's gonna die down, like we were talking about on live. Like it's gonna die down, and we're gonna keep going, and we just won't. We don't forget traumas, and if we do, good. But the ones that we don't forget, if they're inspiring us to create more beautiful things, people, do amazing, beautiful things in life, then there's no better life than that, in a sense. And there's so many aspects to it. That's why finding the trail is difficult every single time, right?
Yeah.
But it gets easier, it gets easier. And we become better. It's like any athlete or artist, they get better because is this what we love to do?
Yeah.
Is this what we love to do? Well, then we should keep doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're a little soiled, but who cares? Like we can wash our stuff. It's all good. We keep going because we love it. We love what we do. We made those choices. And hey, you know what Winston Churchill said too, bro?
What did he say?
He said he changed his mind as the president or the minister,
prime minister, right?
of England. Changes his mind. Prime minister, yeah. Changes his mind, and in government at the highest level of anyone in the country, changes his mind of what people were thinking he was going to do. And he changes his mind. And he says, you changed your mind? He's like, how good of a person would I be if I never changed my mind?
Oh, that's such a big problem these
saying,
days, though. These days, people get entrenched in one way of thinking, and they refuse to change their mind, even in the face of evidence.
Look at Putin right now, or whatever, or anybody else, and Zelensky. I don't care. Look, bro, are you making people feel amazing? Across the world, because that's the new frontier. That's the new territory. Is we're talking from country to country now.
Yeah.
It's not just physical anymore. I mean, whatever. So, yeah, bro. Yeah, man. How's your family? How's your wife and kids, bro?
Everyone's good.
Everybody's healthy? Not sick?
Yeah, we kind of have this little head cold thing rolling around, but other than
Uh-huh.
that, we're doing okay. Yeah. Did I tell
Okay.
you that we had a miscarriage a couple weeks ago?
No,
Yeah.
dude. I'm so sorry,
Yeah, we were
man.
like 14 and a half weeks. Yeah, so that
Wow.
was rough. So we're still kind of recovering from that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. It's been a hellish couple months. So hellish. Kids having
Oof.
visions of death, like the spirit of death coming into the room, like having visions of like this hooded person, like with like smoke coming out of their hood. Just like real, like legit demonic activity sort of deal. Legit demonic activity.
100%.
So we're just, in the battle. Just in the battle.
Bro, can I tell you something I wrote down yesterday? I wrote down like a paragraph. I didn't feel comfortable saying it on the podcast, but I would have. That's just not where the questions were, but or whatever. I'm not saying that either, but um, sometimes, man, like we have so many rules in every structure of any community, whatever the religion, whatever the government, whatever the country. We have so many rules, right? Um, and that's cliche, obviously, to even say the word rules. But I was in Ukraine, and I walk outside. It's like an untypical situation for me. I walk outside. I'll probably post this sometime online. But I walk outside of, we were at a show researching an artist, like, having some fun time dancing. The music is so good. I stay there till like 5 a.m. We're walking out with a couple of my buddies that are there, and two guys are fighting outside. Two dudes are fighting outside. They're about to start a fight, yelling hard. Like, this is obvious. Somebody's going to get into a fight.
Right.
And I'm like, best shape of my life before the surgeries, like whatever, like I'm swole, like I got chains on, like diamonds, like whatever, I'm doing it, yeah. And this is, feel free to share, but you might not want to, this story, but we'll see. And, and I yell at him. I say, stop the fighting right now, like, and I said it in a way that was like, I was taking authority.
Right.
And they didn't like that. They did not like, one of them didn't like that. They kind of split up. I start walking away, and the dude that was probably the most taken by what I said, and I didn't really like, it was just my spirit at the time, to do that.
Right.
Such a weird story, man. And maybe the way I said it, he didn't like it, but that was my text, But I also was feeling in my ego a little bit, like I knew I like had some power to me, like physically and all that. I was after a show, like blah, blah, blah. This guy starts coming at me, and my buddy's shrugging him off. A couple more minutes. Sorry, bro. Okay.
No, this is great.
This guy, it's spiritual at the end, obviously, right? This guy's shrugging him off. And next thing I know, this dude is such a good kickboxer and the cleanest kick I've ever seen. And I've done MMA before in my life. So that's where I'm comfortable, maybe a little more comfortable. Like I have like a record in cage fighting, like a professional record and stuff.
Dang.
And yeah. It's amateur, but it's professional regardless, And it's official, maybe is what I should be saying. I know these kicks. I know what a good one looks like, what a bad one looks like, and it just lands right, like hard, To the point, like my teeth moved around and hurt for 2 weeks after, yeah. And so I'm like, how am I in this situation right now? I had a lot of time to think about it later, but something happens. He kicks him, blah 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 blah, and we go to the ground. We're wrestling, and that's where I'm the best at. All my best training is on the ground. And I immediately have the hangman, like immediately. I have him so locked in with the head, enough to where I'm actually able to get both of us up off the ground and put all of my weight and use his weight to get close to to suffocating him or snapping his neck, which, is either death or paralyzation, right? And 3 cameras out. These videos are somewhere out. They're somewhere out. My friends were there to stop it because they knew it was crazy. But I just had to do what I had to do, And I feel the power of myself, and I have the authority to kill someone right now and do it legally, because it's just too easy at this point. I'm way too trained for this. I know where I'm at. I know what's going on. None of these other dudes are attacking me. There's 15 people around, 3 phones. My glasses are off. My shoe is off. Oh, my buttons off the shirt tore off. I haven't even put them back on. I haven't sewed them back on.
You're wearing that shirt.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody that. Yeah. I kept it as a souvenir, And his brother's begging because his brother's also he's in the MMA world and he knows what could happen right now. And he starts begging to let him go, begging, And I'm thinking, and still, this is not a lot of this was instinct. It wasn't I'm not. It's happening
so fast,
happening quickly, Yeah, happening quickly. But the most important things I'm feeling and my body. This is not my mind making this decision. Is my body does this? It's either trained or it's the way that I'm conditioned from maybe childhood, the way that we're raised or something. I don't know, but I feel it. I'm like, dude, I can kill this dude and get away with it, And that would be fun. That would be Putin style. That'd be Vladimir style.
Totally.
And yeah,
totally, Vlad.
But it doesn't totally Vlad. Yeah, that's so Vlad, dude.
So Vlad.
Hashtag. And long story short, bro, I come home and I'm crying in the car.
Wait, so what happens?
I remember looking.
So you're in that moment.
Oh,
what happens?
Oh, there are cameras everywhere. He's begging. And it's more of it's not even my brain, because my brain would have probably wanted to snap his neck. It would have been cool. It would have been fun. And, maybe you deal with a court case and you get away and blah, 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 and everything. It's legal, blah, 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 because he struck first, it's self-defense. And it's all on video. Which those guys have somewhere, I'm sure, because they're not going to delete something like that, I don't think. But, I'm there and I feel him so limp, the enemy so limp, that I'm like, there's no way he's going to recover from this, in his, or I'm not even thinking this. I'm just thinking if I let him go, nothing's going to happen because he has no strength to keep fighting, And so I let him go, I just let him off. And he immediately, it's like that scripture, resist the devil and he will flee from you. That dude was gone. And he was so cocky, so big, kicking literally the most beautiful kick I've ever seen in my life. Wow. Live training in MMA to my face, And yeah, dude, I get home and I'm crying, bro. It's not hard, but I'm just I was literally crying because I'm this is what we're going through. This is what humanity goes through in some of these moments. Now it's in a war in a sense, those guys are doing their thing and it's the psychological powers and principalities of darkness for some of these guys. Some of these guys, it's physical, they're dying and all that stuff, But deep down inside, we're not happy at killing on the offense. We're okay killing on the defense. We're okay. Even then, some of us don't do it.
Right.
Because we just whatever, why? I don't need this. I already won. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or whatever.
Right.
But when you're on the offense and you're out to kill on the offense, and if you are ever to kill somebody and it's not out of something that's natural to you, it's up in your head. Lenin's last words that people heard were him on his knees begging forgiveness from the freaking table and chair in his office based on how he lived his life. Lenin's last words. Steve Jobs? Well, yeah, a-hole, people said. A lot of people loved him. Still had a wife, had kids. And his last words are what? Oh, wow, how beautiful is this? As humanity, we're moving in the right direction, bro. And so there's a couple things that we need to do as podcasters, as musicians, as entrepreneurs, as fathers, more fathers, less teachers. Vladimir's trying to teach right now. Vlad is trying to teach. You know, he's not being a father. A father will protect. A father might kill. Fathers are killing in Ukraine right now because their sons were killed.
Totally.
And they're doing it out of instinct. They're doing it because they're like, how can I not defend another son? And this is all they know. There are bullets flying. There are rockets flying. They don't care who it is. They just don't want their sons to die. You know? So, but deep down inside, we're wired to protect, and we might be to the point of killing and whatever, but we're not, we're very poorly wired to do the kind of things that Vlad is doing right now. You know? Bro, you know, because we really do love our enemy deep down inside, even if we don't think that we do or even feel it deep down inside. We very much so do, because we're from one earth. We share way too many things in common together that our brain, it's the craziest brain in all of living beings, is the one that's in us, the craziest one. And it's really dangerous, as you can tell. As we could tell back in 1691, when this democracy was formed here on this land. You know, it's a very dangerous one. Civil wars, it's a civil war right now, so to speak, over there. I mean, it's territorial, obviously, but it's also considered a civil war. And then probably a civil war going to happen in Russia, an actual one, like an official meaning of the word.
Wow.
It's probably going to happen in Russia next. Yeah, these people are terrified of their own president. They hate what he's doing. They can't. A lot of them are way too scared to speak out against it. And the people that are becoming very famous right now, especially if they're in media.
But they're paying the consequence for speaking out. I just saw someone was found in a suitcase for speaking out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. She was a model that he probably slept with them or something. I don't know. You know, but she was a model. She was in a suitcase later. Yeah, like just total barbaric stuff that, like, what? Like, I thought we were all past this. Like, didn't we go through 2 world wars already? Like, isn't this what, like, at least if you can't feel it, at least think about the bloodshed and act on your thought. You can't feel the pain or the suffering. At least do it, like, logically.
I guess that's where I think I would probably disagree with you, in that I don't actually think that people, you know, at the base core of their humanity, love their enemy. You know, Dostoevsky writes a lot about this, how, you know, people think that, oh, humanity's basically good. But, you know, when it comes to loving the face of a broken person in front of you in actual action, not just in theory of loving mankind and mankind's basically good, but like the neighbor in front of you that like gets under your skin, the enemy in front of you that you've been fighting with, on the whole of humanity, I think people actually don't like and actually do hate. You know, it says Viktor Frankl wrote and said that the fault line of evil runs through every heart. There's the book Ordinary Men, which is talking about the kind of the reserve German police that went into Germany. These just ordinary guys, just like you and me, giving a way out, saying, "Hey, we're about to do some horrible things today, but if you want, you can go home." But the majority of the men chose to stay and liquidate the Jews from the ghetto, women, children, elderly, pregnant women. That is so dark and graphic, as they spent the day just firing thousands of rounds into the back of people's heads that they'd have to get slammed drunk just to continue doing it. So I think at the core of our humanity, there is something very dark and evil. And it takes something to, you know, from our religious background, it takes Jesus Christ to touch our hearts, transform us, and put something supernatural in us so that we don't snap the neck of our enemy, so that we have mercy in that moment rather than fulfilling the desires of our flesh And I mean, it's a right picture of what you said, that there is something righteous and just in the heart of a father to defend our home and defend our land. And that's right. That's good. That's just.
Mm-hmm.
Versus when you're assaulting someone else.
Yeah, brother. It's a great point, and it's so true. And I know that a lot of my life, me personally, I can relate to that. Some of, I mean, you shouldn't measure evil. Evil is just evil, just like you shouldn't measure sins, But it's very hard to love your neighbor when you yourself are broken. And not a lot of us are, because a lot of people are actually really happy. They are. A lot of these poor people are actually, I mean, yeah, sure, they would want a little more, like, they wouldn't mind a Louis Vuitton bag or whatever.
But I mean, you can be happy and broken at the same. I mean, just because you're happy doesn't mean you're not broken. Doesn't mean that you don't have, deep pains and sorrows in your life.
I'm broken enough to not be able to love your neighbor. That's broken enough for me. Yeah, well, I mean, we're happy, I guess. And yeah, we're happy. You're 100% right. But when I'm broken enough, or when I was, or if I ever will be, which I don't plan on, if I'm ever that way, then I hope that I go and put myself in an environment where I know I have spiritual food, I have real food physically, and I have spiritual food being like communion as well, like with people that are good. And that'll pull that, based on God's laws, is catapulting me right back, because that decision I'm going to be broken again, I'm going to make myself, if I'm going to go that way, because I'm too experienced in this brokenness love thing to know that ego that is inside of me, that evil fault line, if I do have, there is control over it. There is, and not everyone's going to have that control. Some of us are assassinated. Putin might be assassinated. Bin Laden was, because the people just don't want to handle it anymore.
Right.
But he was ready for that. What are you and me ready for? That's a different question. We're going to outlive this guy, even naturally.
Totally.
We're going to be a lot, and which means we're going to carry a lot more wisdom. Or we're going to carry wisdom further, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I mean, dude, like, it's a very, very complex bowl of nutrients that we don't want to mess up with the wrong ones, or have too much of the right ones either. This is a balance to this stuff. We have to be happy. We have to be good. We have to feel that God is love, for whatever that means to each person individually. There's billions of us here, but yet we have these custom fingerprints. That means something. That means that you do have to figure out what your custom is. You have to. And if it doesn't feel custom to you, then do something else for the time being and come back to the other thing. If it doesn't feel custom, because without your decision, you were made custom. Just look at yourself. Look at your hands. Look at your prints. It wasn't even your decision to be unique, and yet we still try.
Wow.
You already are. Like I have a car. I don't try to be, like something worse. You know what I mean? Like a freaking bicycle, when I need to go to 100 miles away, it's already unique and everything already makes sense. Like, it's there. Or, like, it's not the greatest probably metaphor, but like, why am I trying to be something else when I didn't even have to choose it? And I'm literally, like, the most custom thing you can think of is yourself, because that's the way God made you, and he's like flowing through you. But we do have these brains, and they're very difficult to navigate. Insanely,
Do you feel?
you know.
Because I totally love. I mean, it's powerful thought that without our choice, we were created custom. Without our choice, we were created completely unique. Don't you?
100%.
Don't you feel that even though we were created unique, many people want to just like they do want to be unique, but they want to be unique, but totally just fit in with the crowd. They don't want to stand out. They want to blend in.
Yeah, you know, I've had the question. I've had the question from a couple people. Where were you 2 years ago on this Ukraine stuff? Where were you?
Right, because people are mad that now you're talking up because it's a hot topic.
Yeah. I didn't know that I was half Ukrainian 9 months ago, 7 months ago. I thought I was a Russian kid because we were busy on not being poor in America. And I go over there, I look into my records, I get all my birth certificates sent over. I'm like, what the heck? I'm half Ukrainian. This is crazy. I got the citizenship there. I can literally be a president there if I wanted to.
Dang.
If it doesn't become Russia. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, man. I'm a dual citizen, bro. Yeah. Well, we'll see how long that if it lasts. For sure, it should last. You know. But like, yo, you know, and I didn't even know. Now I'm standing out because I know. Some people don't even know what to stand out for, and that's why they're not standing out. And what if what they do know, it might feel like it's powerful, but it needs a lot more weight. It needs a lot more like, I mean, in the sense of standing out, it needs more community. Like if I want to stand out on a world tour, like I got accepted to go Winter Jam. It's like one of the most attended music tours in human history, whatever. And you know, like if I want to stand out there, it's 50 people that are behind the idea, behind the concept, to help somebody stand out on stage in front of 15,000 every night. It's a whole thing, you know. And some people aren't ready. You can't just throw a person on there. It's like there's engineering to all this, spiritual engineering. You know, like Sadhguru kind of wrote like a book. I think I started reading it, Inner Engineering. But like a lot of this stuff goes way really far, you know. And actually, he does. I don't know if you listen to him, but he does talk about some stuff. I just listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast like yesterday or something. But he's talking about like taking care of the soil because there's logical things that he talks about. He sounds like a cocky little rich kid sometimes, but like, you know, he does talk about some stuff that's has a lot of weight to it when it comes to like, let's take care of like where we're from. Like, for instance, our soil is dying right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we've sucked so many, you know, we've sucked the nutrients out of it with, you know, modifying genes, you know, modifying DNA. And it's like, like we just wanted to get more, you know, whatever more is. And some of it's like, really. And it's going to take guys like you and me, bro, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. That might not make sense in every situation, but you can relate it to it, you know? And in a lot of situations, it is. There's a lot to unpack there too, you know, in our tongues, like what we're speaking into existence. And it makes money. It prints money. It builds governments. It stirs
Totally.
It sends podcasts into the world, you know?
Language.
It's
it's beyond just It's not just communicating, you know, words or meanings, but it has power to build, power to destroy. When we agree to something and shake a hand or write something on a paper, it means something between people, right? Treaties. or contracts or even a verbal agreement between someone, when we break our word, it actually means something. It has weight. I was thinking about that a couple weeks ago, how, man, it's fascinating how as humans, when I give my word to someone about something, and if I break it, it's easy to, not easy, but I often find myself breaking my words to my kids, or they feel like it, where we say, hopefully maybe this weekend we'll be able to do this, whatever it is. And then the weekend comes up and something else comes up. They're like, you said, it's like, okay, we
they
said
don't know
maybe.
what hopefully means, right?
Right. So, but it's interesting that there's something spiritual and powerful in the spoken word, that we can say something with the spoken word and cause a war. We can say something with our word and stop a war. Like there is a spiritual force behind it. It's blessed are the peacemakers, that there is you can actually be a peacemaker and build peace through your words, which is a powerful, deeply spiritual, metaphysical concept. The word.
And it's so funny that you say that, peacemaker. That's Mironov. My last name means that in Slavic. And anytime I'm in a project where I'm not creating peace, I always feel conviction. Always. Whether I act on it or not, I'm feeling that conviction. And these days, I know my limited energy amounts in the next half a year. I know that I enjoy the trail that I'm on. And I'm like, it has a lot to do with creating peace, bro. Whatever our products are, whatever our your breads are, whatever your logo, whatever my businesses are, whatever my investments are, whatever my community is it peaceful? Or is it another stage trying to compete with another stage? Or is it peaceful? Because it's not easy to create peace. It really is not. Because I think you have to go through a lot of tyranny, maybe, even if it's spiritual, to be like, dude, I give up. God, I give up. Like, I have to be a peacemaker.
That is true. You have to go through so much tyranny to create peace. And I've been thinking about this, with U.S. American pundits, and I can kind of sometimes fall into that. I can fall into that trap. And thinking about this conflict, seeing a lot of pundits, back one side or the other, but not in a way that's making peace. So I see a lot of people backing the, Ukraine, but it's not in a way to like make for peace. It's in a way to make for war. Or people backing the Russian arguments, or echoing the, Russian talking points. And it's not in a way to make for peace. It's a way to make for war. One side saying, well, look at everything that they censor in Ukraine or in Russia. And yet I can't read RT. I can't read the Russian Times to get what the Russian Times is saying on Telegram, because that's been censored. Right. So
are you running on a VPN?
No, I guess Telegram uses like your phone, the phone number that you're registered in. So it's like, I guess
I pay for
the point.
Let me interrupt you just for a quick second.
Wait. Let me finish this. Don't
let me forget to give you a VPN for free that I pay for. I'm just trying to tell you something good.
Okay.
So you can see news across the world.
Well, I have a VPN, so that's not the.
Oh, you should use it to see Russian media, right?
Well, yeah. So I guess it's just on my phone, and it's just on Telegram that it's blocked, because my phone number is a U.S. registered phone number, and so it doesn't get around it. But the point being, how many posts get flagged and taken down as misinformation, only to find out 6 months later it's real information. So within the making of war and making of conflict, there's finances. So within the, this is the whole social media algorithm, Google trap, that it's within the making of controversial statements and the building up of conflict between people and taking a hardline side, that then drives more clicks, more comments, more engagement, more conflict, and that puts you down a self-fulfilling prophecy almost to continue down that road, because that's what gains attraction, that's what gains eyeballs, that's what gains stages and audiences, because you're controversial, because you're not making for peace, but you're making for war. And yet what you're saying, and I love it, it's when you have a message that's making for peace, oftentimes both sides who are making for war hate it. This is what I experienced within the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I was saying, hey guys, I think both sides are doing things that are wrong. But I also think that means I think that Hamas is a terrorist organization, which is doing things that are wrong, indiscriminately shooting missiles at civilian populations. We need, and that's not helping the people who are paying the cost for it, which is the Palestinian people who are being crushed from both sides, just like in this conflict with Ukraine, being crushed by both sides. And so I stood up and I made statements saying, hey, we need to make for peace. We need to solve for peace. But there are a lot of people who have come into agreement with the shedding of innocent blood, come into agreement with the spirit of war, and making for war, not peace, just like I see on both sides of this conflict within, the NATO and Russia, both sides. And yet the people who are being crushed are the Ukrainian people, like the orphans that your friend is helping, saving all these baby orphans. and it's people like him, this, guy from Portland, Oregon, who, he's just a regular guy, right? Your friend, he's just a regular guy. It's not that he's done something incredible. It's not that he's some superhero, incredibly well. I mean, maybe he's connected, but he decided to go after Crimea, go over and help orphans, help people in need. And he's someone that makes for peace. Just like you're standing up on your Instagram and you're making for peace. You're saying, you know what, forget all these politics. Like, the civilian population's being crushed. Let's make for peace.
It is, and it's lied about. And it's, And I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's good. It's all good.
I just, you want to be able to study, see what a demon looks like in a person. Like, for real, in social media, not just church media. Church media, it's cool and everything. But right now, churches don't usually start wars. Usually, I don't think, from what I understand. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some religions do, but the way that churches are going, typically not, starting wars, I don't think.
Right.
And
they have a bad reputation
putting myself
history.
In your shoes.
when religion becomes blended with the political system, and there's no way to differentiate between the political system and religion, those organizations. And the same thing when you don't have a differentiation between the political system and the economic system, those systems often tend to create war.
Yeah. That's why the separation of church and state is pretty important, right?
Which was the separation of church, of state from church, where the political organization couldn't control the church. Yeah. Not that the church couldn't engage or religion couldn't engage in the political process with their religious morals and values.
Yeah. We can influence, we influence politics. We were sitting with this oligarch in Ukraine, and he was whining and dining us, and he's like, Order whatever you want. I got it. You want a few women? You want this? You want alcohol? What's up? You know, like whatever. I'm just like, yo, I'll just take some hummus. I'm good. Hummus and some pita. We're chilling. Keep hanging out with them. We go to another like venue where it's like the best spot in downtown Kiev. All this. He's wining and dining us. Minus the wine. I don't drink, but and I don't mind people that do either way, as long as it's not hurting them. And at the end of the like 8 hours hanging out with them, walk around like with all this wealthy ass, this personal securities. Nobody has guns in Ukraine, but rich dudes, so to speak, or politicians maybe like that are up there. And he goes to my buddy, one of my business partners out there in Kiev. Or we're still friends. We used to be business partners. And he's like, dude, I have to say it. He's like, all the stuff that I've been involved this last 20 years. He's like, I was raised Christian. He's like, and I know what I have to do. He's like, I know I have to give my life up. I know I have to give this up. Like, it's just so hard for me to do, I have to give all this craziness up, all this filth that I'm in. That everybody thinks is awesome. I mean, we speak about it all the time, but when you see a person say it and you see his soul, you see that his soul is trying to get out and the demon's almost all the way out. It's good, That's why we speak. That's why we talk. That's why we speak, That's why somebody might take this podcast and they might translate it, and they might be in Ukrainian or in Russian. I might have to pay. I actually was thinking about paying for that myself. And yeah, bro, like, and what? More importantly, while we're here together right now, trying to put myself more in your shoes, bro. Like, you deal with social media, right? Sometimes I feel like, because we're a lot of times, more times than not, in a war with powers and principalities of darkness, what's the point of listening to 7 million people, or maybe to somebody it's 7 billion, if deep down inside it's not your ego saying, but your spirit saying, that's not right. I don't care about the fame. I'm going to go back and worry to make sure there's food in if there's food in my stomach, there's food in the stomachs of people around me. We're going to make wise decisions, and we're going to grow. And 60 years from now, which is going to fly by like this, it's going to be a completely different landscape. It's going to be a completely different landscape because of what we were thinking about, because of what we were podcasting about, because of all that. And you're under that pressure because you're like, you have a quality studio, bro. Like, you have massive studio, that is going to be huge, and all these trends and all this stuff that's out there that's trying to tell anybody that's like you or like me that we're doing something wrong and that we're not living up to what needs to happen. No. Competition is good when it's from the Holy Spirit, so to speak.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, it's good, and all that is good. But resist the devil and know the demons. Like, know, as we like Pentecostals say, or whatever. I don't know,
right.
Whatever that means. But like, know that even if it might be my friend, it might be my brother, God's in them. But they're letting a little bit of the demon in. They want to flirt around they want to flirt with the devil. They want to dance with the devil. The devil wears Prada, man. The devil wears some fancy stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes.
Angel of light.
It really does.
Wolves in sheep clothing. There's an Arabic saying. It's in Arabic, it's Isim Shaya wa Batan Jaya, which is, the name is famous, but the stomach is empty, or the stomach is hungry. And they mean it. There's two different kind of contextual meanings to it. One is that, you pretend to be the rich guy, but you actually, you're broke because you're overextended. But then there's the other meaning that it reminds me of what you just said, of how, we could chase the 7 million or 100 million, 700 million people to get the affirmation or controversy or energy from them. But really, we could be just empty vessels, empty clouds that promises rain, but just as empty. Or we can pull back from that. As you said, 60 years is going to go by, like that. And I'm already, I could be already halfway. I could be over halfway through my life. You don't know. You just had a near-death experience. You got hit by a car, had your walking through a crosswalk, red light.
74 kilometers, brother. 74 kilometers an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Almost 50 miles an hour. I'm talking about like deathly. Like
skull
it's not
bashed in, out, titanium plate put in. You had a brush with death. We could not be having this podcast right now. We could not be having this conversation right now. So you don't know the time. But at the end of the day, like, what matters? The controversy, the followers, the likes. No, it's my family. It's whether or not my stomach was filled with the richness and the goodness and the truth of God, not the fame of the world and the attention of the world and the money of the world, whatever is that emptiness that we're chasing to try to, as you so rightly said, be unique, trying to feel like we're unique, so we're something special, even though we were born unique, without asking, without wanting. That's how we're just given that way.
Their fame is full, but their spirit is empty. Yeah.
Yeah, Ism Shai. So their name is famous, but their stomach is empty.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But yeah, as you said, all those who are making war, making for war, they are, here today and gone tomorrow. But the righteous, those who make for peace, they shall remain.
Yeah.
As you said, I like that.
Yeah, man. Well, my head's starting to hurt a little bit after these surgeries and all that. Yeah. And let's keep rocking and rolling, staying in touch. I got a bunch of meetings the next 4 months across the U.S. I got this big one on Friday. So just paving the way, man.
Amazing.
Looking for people that are peaceful, not looking for anybody that's combative. In a sense that combat is good, but it needs to be from God. When we're fighting, when we're Christians and we're fighting against each other and all this stuff, then we should repent and we should figure out a better way, because that's not part of the plan. Combat is, when it's from God, it's okay, but when it's you have to be able to say that combat was from God, and you can't look your brother in the face that's in your community or in your family and say that combat was from God against you from me. Like, what the heck kind of statement is that? We might, it is, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, brother, get some rest. Rest that head of yours.
Thanks, man.
That's all for episode 274, The Afterglow. Thanks for listening to the second half. If you got value out of this show, I ask that you would go and visit lucasgrobot.com/support and earmark it Ukraine. All the money given this week or from this episode is going to go to help orphans in Ukraine get rescued out of basements, get food, shelter, water. You can give your hard, cold fiat and actually make a real difference in orphans' lives today. So the link is in the show notes. And if you're listening on Podcast 2.0 certified app, the link is right there in your app. We will see you next time on the show. Remember, you are someone who pursues truth so that you can live by truth. And that empowers us and enables us to own the future.